In this video, I want to discuss with you how to increase your fertility through traditional Chinese medicine. So now in traditional Chinese medicine, the perspective is that fertility and a healthy interest in sex is actually a high sign of good health. So fertility and good health go hand in hand. There's really no need to have a fertility specialist when you're focusing on whole body, holistic health, because when your body is in a true state of health and vitality, fertility is just a natural byproduct. So if you're working with a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner in increasing your fertility levels, they're going to be looking at your overall health. They'll observe the health of your hormones, the health and functioning of all your different organs. They're going to be looking at your overall energy and even your emotional state of well-being. And that's because there's one basic philosophy in Chinese medicine, and that is everything is connected. So every one of your organs in your body communicates with the others. Every cell in your body is in communication and correspondence with the other cell. All the hormones affect other hormones, and essentially you can't focus on one organ system without affecting the other. So therefore, to achieve a high state of fertility and overall health, you need to promote the health of your overall body, your emotional and mental body included. So with that being said, I want to give you a few very simple tips and a few different things that you can look at from a Chinese medicine perspective to improve your overall health, increase your likelihood of getting pregnant, having a healthy pregnancy, and improving your overall sexual energy, fertility, and libido. So to begin, the thing that we're ultimately going to want to do is decrease our overall stress load to improve our overall health. And I'm not talking solely about mental and emotional stress, though we'll get into that. I'm going to be pointing out really stress in all different areas of your life. Emotional stress, nutritional stress, chemical stress, physiological stresses in your body, stresses from your environment, and other various types of stressors that we'll get into. However, to begin, I will talk to you a little bit about the importance of clearing away or getting rid of unnecessary mental stress, which is perhaps the most common stress, which is really nothing more than having mental conflicts. This is usually what we associate with mental stress. Stress itself is a counterforce, so it's a thought opposing another thought. It is an example wanting to go to work, but also not wanting to go to work. This creates a mental conflict, and this is what we know as psychological stress. These things can manifest in a variety of ways, almost an infinite amount of ways. You can have all sorts of different identity conflicts, different intentions in conflict, wanting to do this, but also not wanting to do it. And then what you have is a mental conflict or mental pressure that results in a stress response on a physiological level. So this is the first thing that we really want to address when we're improving our overall health, because it is the most common sort of stress in our life, is to have a mental conflict and this psychological stress negatively affecting us. And it's perhaps the most negative and the most harmful because it's the most unknown or the most out of sight. So it's really happening outside of our environment. It's happening internally in our own consciousness or our own thought world. And therefore it can be the most difficult to manage. However, I want to point out first the negative side effects of this on your fertility. And it's very basic. First of all, when you're in a constant state of mental or psychological stress, you're still telling your body that it's in danger. So your mind and body don't really know the difference whether what you're thinking is actually happening or not. And this is demonstrated through the mere thought of food. If you're really hungry, your mouth can start to water actually if you start to think of your favorite food. But also on a stress level, if you're stressed out and you're thinking about, paying your bills or having to do this thing that you don't know how to do, this creates a physiological response in your body. Your body secretes a bunch of stress hormones, and eventually you wear down your adrenals and your HPA axis. So your whole glandular or endocrine system that has a large role in immune function, detoxification, digestion, and of course, fertility and hormonal health. So the problem here is that if you're in a constant state of psychological stress, then you're actually stressing out your body all the time, which would be like engaging in physical trauma all the time, but it's happening mentally. So again, your body doesn't really know the difference. So you really want to address this sort of mental stress, which is going to create major hormonal imbalance. It's going to affect your immune system, your body's ability to detoxify, and these can all have very negative consequences on your fertility levels and even your pregnancy or your birthing experience. So we want to eliminate this sort of stress. The way to do it would of course be a more engaging approach. I can't just tell you in a simple tip how to get rid of mental stress. I would suggest though taking up some form of meditation, so some sort of mental yoga, becoming aware of your thoughts, your own mental conflicts, your own considerations that create stress in your body. gaining some sort of mental or emotional mastery through the help of a spiritual guide or some sort of teacher or mentor. But you could also utilize basic meditation techniques just by sitting and observing your thoughts rather than engaging in them and thinking that they're real. So just become aware of your thoughts and don't resist them. You can also take up things like Qigong and Tai Chi, or just basic exercise to help manage the stress response. You can utilize adaptogen herbs that help increase your body's biological response to stress, and that will help curb the negative side effects or the oxidative damage that usually results when you're in a chronic state of stress. So that's perhaps the number one tip and the most important tip for improving your fertility levels, because stress has a negative effect on your hormonal system, which has a very powerful effect on your level of fertility. So manage the psychological stress with these tips. Next, what you want to focus on is improving the blood flow, oxygenation, and qi energy to your reproductive organs and glands. So this is a very simple thing to do, actually. However, if you are in a high stress state, if you're someone who's psychologically or emotionally stressed out, your blood flow becomes impeded and obstructed. Because when you are in a state of stress or a fight or flight response, all the blood flow is really diverted away from your reproductive organs and your different glands and into your extremities, so that way you can prepare to fight off the danger that your body thinks it's in. So therefore, the first thing we want to do to actually improve our blood flow is go back to step one and really help make our body more relaxed. Do things to relax the nervous system, calm down that sympathetic nervous system, so that way we have better blood flow to our vital organs and specifically our reproductive organs. However, more simple things that you can do to improve your blood flow and circulation would be to see an acupuncturist to free up the different meridian channels and get the qi flowing again in your body. You can engage again in just simple exercise. Going for a walk, doing yoga or qigong are really great ways to circulate your blood and your qi in your body. You could also utilize more meditative practices, such as visualizing through meditation, blood flow and qi circulating to your reproductive organs, and sort of using this idea of autosuggestion or your attention, which is a more swami or sage tactic in increasing your blood flow. But you could also utilize blood circulatory herbs like ginkgo biloba, which is a very great herb for circulating the blood throughout your body and getting that qi flowing. You could also use tonic herbs like Chinese bitters that will improve the quality of your blood and get liver qi flowing again. But nevertheless, you want to focus on improving your overall circulatory health, specifically your microcirculation to your genitalia, to your ovaries, to your reproductive organs. And the importance of this, if you do not already know, of course, your blood is your life force. If you don't have blood flowing to your organs are become malnourished because your blood carries all of your nutrients. Your blood is your life force to your organs, but your blood also carries oxygen and the hormones that you need to basically have a high level of fertility. So my third tip on improving fertility from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective would be to balance your hormonal system. Now, if you've taken action to decrease the stress in your life, you've already gone more than halfway there, because stress has the most negative consequences on your hormonal system. Specifically, women who are highly stressed, they live a highly stressed life, create more prolactin, which can actually disrupt ovulation and lead to infertility. So you want to definitely diminish the stress in your life to improve your overall health. That is of utmost importance. However, there's other things you can do to improve your hormonal health that are a bit more simple. The things I'd recommend doing is cut out any sort of processed commercial foods and substances from your life. Commercial dairy, factory farm meat, they contain tons of hormones, antibiotics, and things that throw off your internal system. They throw off your hormonal system and immune function and gut bacteria when you consume them. So definitely get rid of all commercial processed industrialized junk food out of your diet. I'd also suggest avoiding the consumption of sugar, specifically refined sugar, which greatly throws off your hormonal system. It messes up your blood sugar, which can throw off very important reproductive hormones like testosterone and cause an imbalance such as estrogen dominance, which could lead to infertility in both men and women. So you also want to, of course, avoid the very obvious things like alcohol and cigarettes, which have negative consequences on your hormonal and immune system. But you could also support the balance and the strength of your fertility hormones by increasing your intake of healthy saturated fats like grass-fed ghee, raw grass-fed butter, and coconut oil, which will actually help your body produce more testosterone, which is necessary in both men and women to have a healthy pregnancy and to have a strong sex drive and good fertility levels. Another very important factor for increasing your overall health and your fertility would be to manage your emotional stress. Now, to do so, I actually have an entire video on managing emotional imbalances and remedying chronic negative emotions like anxiety and depression. So you can check out that video by clicking the link below. I'll give you a link to that video somewhere here in the video so you can check that out in more detail. However, the short story is that your liver and your lungs in Chinese medicine are the primary organs that you need for good reproductive health, of course next to your reproductive glands and organs. And really it is emotions like grief, frustration, anger, depression that damage or cause these organs to atrophy or become stagnant or not function properly. And your liver is a very important organ for producing sex hormones. So you want to make sure you have a very healthy liver, and one of the best things you can do on an emotional level is actually to free up any stagnant or stuck emotions, specifically grief, anger, and frustration, which are very common chronic emotions in today's world. So you definitely want to take an approach to free up those stuck emotions from the liver, so that way your liver can produce sufficient sex hormones. Something else that you want to look into when you're trying to become pregnant and increase your fertility levels is remedying the issue of dampness, which is actually a very common issue in the modern world. Now in Chinese medicine, dampness is really just an issue of accumulated mucus. It's often associated with really poor digestion, low digestive fire, and fungal and immune issues. And really this dampness comes about, of course, through stress, being the #1 cause of most health imbalances. But dampness also comes through, again, poor digestion and poor diet, specifically actually consuming too many raw and cold foods or too much sugar in other foods that feed funguses and pathogens in the body. So for some tips on relieving this issue of dampness, you can check out a video I have over here on the benefits of white atractoloids, which is the #1 herb for alleviating dampness. However, the reason you want to eliminate this dampness issue in the body is because, again, dampness can lead to a very poor functioning immune system. It can even lead to fungal and parasite infections, which have very negative consequences on your overall body. But these issues can also be passed on through birth, leading to birth defects of some degree, or just passing along essentially low Jing or a weak immune system. So you definitely want to manage any sort of underlying infections or any other issues of dampness. Again, check out that video so you can learn how to do so. Now last but not least, I want to discuss with you a more mental or emotional thing that you should look into before getting pregnant. And that is really getting rid of this sort of false body image pursuit. So the value that we have today in the modern world of looking very fit, looking like a model or very thin, actually is leading to issues with fertility. But really, from traditional Chinese medicine perspective, this goes against the whole sort of embodiment with pregnancy, which is a more warm, sort of holding and nurturing body type. However, from a more pragmatical view, when a woman is too underweight and she doesn't have sufficient body fat, there's often a hormonal imbalance. Women who are too thin are often the most infertile. They don't have sufficient hormone production, and they generally lack the necessary energy reserves to even go through labor and to actually bear a child. So now this might not be something you can just do overnight. It might take a little bit of help, a little bit of cognitive therapy to sort of break down this attachment or value on a certain body image. But my basic advice is really, if you start to focus more on achieving health and vitality rather than looking a certain way, then your body is going to look the way it should when it's in a balanced state of health and you have good hormone function and a strong immune system. So again, the simple way to go about this is sort of swap this value for aesthetic for a value for true health and true vitality. And in my experience, you'll still be gifted with the body that you would like, but more importantly than that, you'll have a healthy state of well-being, strong hormones, and of course you'll have a high level of fertility. So these are just a few tips from a holistic or Chinese medicine perspective on increasing your fertility. There's many other things that you can do. There's many herbs you can utilize. There's herbs like dong gui that are great hormone balancing herbs. Adaptogen herbs in general are great for balancing the different alternating cycles and hormonal cycles in your body. However, if you start to apply these to your lifestyle, you should definitely see an increase in your overall hormone balance and therefore your fertility levels. You can always do more research. You can check out other videos on our YouTube channel learning how to balance your hormones, which is a very important part of fertility health. However, if you've enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can check us out on Instagram where we do free tonic herb giveaways, and you can check out our online tonic herb shop by clicking the link below.